Today we're going to talk about the number one thing you can do for your dog's teeth, and spoiler alert, it's brushing them. Periodontal disease is super common in dogs. We definitely see it every single day. Just under 60% of all dogs under the age of 3 have periodontal disease. So that's more than half of the population, which is a huge number. But the good news is that it is preventable with proper dental care, and that's what we're going to run through today. If you're new here, hi, I'm Dr. Shallan. I'm a small animal veterinarian, and I have seen a lot of gnarly dog teeth in my time, and my hope is that today we can work through it so we see less of that in practice. We're going to start with why we should care about our dog's teeth and why dental care matters. Then I'll talk through the supplies that you need to brush your dog's teeth. And then I will talk you through step by step how to brush your dog's teeth. And spoiler alert, going slow is the key. I do truly believe that the vast majority of dogs, you can get to the point where you can safely brush their teeth and they can even enjoy it. But there is a certain subset of the population that will not tolerate their teeth being brushed for various reasons. And so I am also going to go through a few of the things you can do for that population of dogs, and you can also do that along with daily brushing. I am going to timestamp everything here so you can skip about to the bit that you will find most valuable. Let's get started. We are first going to talk about why dental care matters, and we will talk some numbers in this as well. Periodontal disease affects nearly 60% of all dogs from the age of 3 onwards, so definitely not just an old dog disease. It is a disease that affects dogs of all ages. In terms of what it is in definitions, periodontal disease is inflammation of the gums and inflammation of the supportive structures of the teeth. So that's your bone and your ligaments that help support your teeth. And periodontal disease initially starts off as just a little bit of plaque, which builds up to tartar, which then progresses. The reason we worry about it is that it does cause pain in your dogs. It does cause that nasty breath, the bad breath in dogs. It can cause infection. It can lead to loose teeth and teeth that even fall out. And it can also become systemic. So it can cause issues with your dog's liver, kidney, heart. So it is something that is really important to nut down on. And this is another reason why I really like clients to be comfortable looking inside their dog's mouth, because they can find things more quickly than with annual checks with us. Periodontal disease is definitely the most common oral disease that we see in dogs, but there are other things to be aware of. The first important one of these is oral tumours. It's been found that up to 11% of dogs will have an oral tumour in their mouth. Now, I do want to put a caveat on this. This isn't all malignant tumours, so tumours that can spread and do nasty things to the body. These can and often are benign masses in the mouth, so masses that can cause a little bit of inflammation and problems locally but don't spread elsewhere in the body. And depending on the size and where they are in the mouth, sometimes we just monitor them, sometimes we do go ahead and remove them, particularly if they're causing issues with animals eating, or if they're chewing on them and they're bleeding or getting infected and that sort of thing. So a mass in the mouth doesn't necessarily mean big bad things, but it is something to be aware of and something to monitor for, because like masses anywhere in the body, if we find them when they're small, they're much easier to deal with than if we don't find them till they are big. Other things are dental fractures. So 7% of dogs are found to have dental fractures, which is important because dental fractures are generally quite painful for animals. So just another thing to be aware of. There is obviously gingivitis, tooth resorption, and other things that can go on in the mouth, but they're the main ones. The other reason that we do pay a lot of attention to a dog's teeth is that dental disease can lead to systemic disease. The bacteria in an animal's mouth can actually spread to the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and cause problems in those organs as well. And certainly in humans, it has been found that people with good dental hygiene tend to live longer than people with poor dental hygiene, so it's reasonable to assume that dogs are the same. The other thing I do want to make a point of is, just like in humans, tartar will harden into plaque on a dog's teeth within 24 hours, which is why that we recommend the daily brushing. You can kind of get away with every second day if you need to, but ideally daily brushing is our aim. Let's chat about the things that you need to brush your dog's teeth. The first thing to mention is that you do need a dog appropriate toothpaste. This is a chicken flavored one. You can get chicken flavored, beef flavored, cheese flavored, peanut butter flavored, whatever flavor you like basically, you should be able to get your hands on. It is really important you never use human toothpaste in a dog's mouth. They generally contain xylitol, which is a sugar substitute, which is very, very, very toxic to dogs. So you don't want to use it for that reason. In terms of the brush that you use, you can get these little finger brushes to use on their teeth, which I actually quite like the finger brushes, but use whatever suits you. You can also get longer handled dog appropriate toothbrushes, or you can just use a children's toothbrush. They tend to work quite well. They've got a soft sort of bristly edge that you can use on their teeth, and they're also relatively cheap, so they're easy to replace if the dog chews on them and gets them a little bit gnarly. The other thing that you can do, which actually a vet nurse taught me, which I really do like the idea, is you can get a little bit of gauze and wrap it around your finger and use that as an abrasive surface, and you can get gauze at your local chemist. The other very important thing that you need is a reward, so a treat for your dog. And I would make it quite a high value treat, so one that they don't get all the time and that they do really enjoy. So whether that be cheese, full fat peanut butter, warm chicken, whatever works for your dog. Every dog is a little bit different, of course. Have that treat with you as well. So now let's talk about the step-by-step process in brushing your dog's teeth. The earlier you start this, the better. So when they're quite young, it's a really good idea to introduce them to this, but this can really be taught in dogs of any age. The first step, and I say week 1, but just basically work through these steps as fast as your dog is comfortable with. One phase may take you a few weeks, one phase may take you 3 days. Just work with your pet and what works for them. There is absolutely no rush with this. This is something that you want to be a lifelong activity, so it's really important to, as I always say, Rome wasn't built in a day. Just go really slowly and gently and leave your dog wanting more if possible. So step 1 is just to get your dog used to being handled around the mouth. So you're not brushing their teeth by any stretch of the imagination at this point. You're just sort of touching them around the mouth and getting them used to their muzzle being handled. And this is something that I want you to be doing twice a day, and it should take no longer than 10 seconds. So give their face a little bit of a pat, give them a treat. Once they're pretty comfortable with that, and a lot of dogs are relatively comfortable with that from the get-go, just get your finger and just slip it in the side. Again, should only last a second, and you're not brushing their teeth, you're just getting them used to having their mouth handled and learning that it is not a scary experience. They get a fun reward, it's all fine. So just start with that, and for the first week, 2 weeks, however many weeks it takes, till it's very normal for them to twice a day just have a little mouth and a little finger in the mouth. That's it. So that is your goal, just mouth handling and getting them used to being gently, obviously, handled around the mouth. Week 2, or your second step, is to introduce them to the toothpaste. So hopefully you've picked a toothpaste flavor that you're fairly confident they will like. And to begin with, just get a little bit of the toothpaste, and this is the consistency of it here. Get a little bit of the toothpaste on your finger and literally just let them lick it off your finger. So just let them get used to the taste and let them think that it's some sort of special treat. So for the first couple of days, just give them a little bleb each day. Keep going, touching around the mouth as well. And then as they're comfortable with that and they're licking it off, just sort of rub their teeth a little bit as they're licking it off. And if you can, like obviously they're licking it off the front, so you can sort of do the front a little bit, sort of work you around the edges. And this is only going to be a second or 2. So again, you're not actually brushing their teeth. You're just getting them used to the sensation of having something in their mouth, which at this stage is your finger, and also the toothpaste taste as well. So that is week 2. Week 3 is to introduce the toothbrush to them. So to begin with, and again, simple things, but to begin with, just let them see the toothbrush, let them smell the toothbrush, let them sort of get used to it being patted gently on their face. Just let them learn that it is a non-threatening thing. And again, twice a day, nothing major. Pat their mouth, let them have a lick of toothpaste, maybe try and get a little bit onto their teeth, and then just let them sniff this and have a look. Once they're comfortable with this and they're like, yeah, that's kind of boring, I don't know what's going on there, but it's kind of boring, put a little bit of toothpaste on the end of the brush, and again, just let them lick them off. So that's what you're doing there. Step 4, or week 4, is when you're actually introducing the brush into their mouth. So put the toothpaste on the brush, which hopefully they're liking, and then just again, a few seconds, try and get it into their mouth and give it a little bit of a zhuzh. Do this twice a day. I don't expect you to do this twice a day forever. It just sort of helps reinforce things a little bit. And then week 5 onwards, start actually brushing their teeth. So you don't need to put a whole lot of force on there, just gently, like you're brushing your own teeth. Circular motions around. Try and get into some sort of routine, whatever works for you. So some people like starting at the back of the mouth and working their way all the way around. Some people like doing one side, then the other side, and then the front. Whatever works for you, but I think having a set routine on how you brush their teeth is a really good idea, just so dogs know what to expect, and if they need a little break, give them a break. Your goal is to work up to 30 seconds on each side of the mouth once a day, so a minute a day. You do want to aim for the margin between the gum and the tooth, so this sort of area. You obviously try and brush the whole tooth, that's important too, but do focus mainly on the gum and tooth interface, or where they meet, to get all the tartar off there. The other thing is you just focus on the outside of the teeth. Don't worry about getting to the inside of the teeth. They don't tend to build up tartar there. The tongue is really good at sort of cleaning that up. Even when we do dentals on quite severe teeth, we will find that the outside of the teeth are pretty manky and pretty bad, but the inside of the teeth are only very mildly or not affected at all. So when you're brushing their teeth, just focus on the outside of the teeth. And after every single step, and even once they're used to having their teeth brushed, do give them a treat. Make sure this is a positive experience. We want them to enjoy this. We want them to be sort of part of their routine. The other tip that I would give you is to do it when they are calm and relaxed. So don't try brushing their teeth and introducing them to all these things when they're hyped up after a run at the park, or while they're out the park running around, or if there are new people around and they're running around and they're all excited and enthusiastic. Don't, do a toothbrushing session. Do it when they're calm, they're relaxed. So pick your moment, take it very slowly, do it consistently every day, and don't give up. Obviously make sure it is safe. If you've got a dog that's very head shy and snappy and you are worried that they may bite you, be sensible, use your common sense, take a step back, give them some space. They may fall into that category of dogs that you cannot brush their teeth, and they do exist. Some dogs are not necessarily aggressive dogs, but they can be quite head shy and sort of timid and nervous, and they can be quite challenging sometimes, but just take it super slowly, and often even those dogs will do okay, even if it does take a couple of months. As I say to clients all the time, if you have a 3-year-old dog and it takes you 3 months to get them comfortable brushing their teeth, but you can brush their teeth for the next 10 years, it's worth it. If you go crazy and after 3 days you're like, this is too hard because you've gone gung-ho with everything, then you've lost it. And so yeah, just take it very, very slowly. Always stop like before their limit, so to speak. You kind of want to leave them wanting more. Whenever you're learning something new, it's always good to leave people wanting more. And yeah, just take it slow, go at your own pace. If you go through all those steps, you should be absolutely fine. I'm going to run you through when it is important that you see your vet about your dog's teeth as well, because brushing is fantastic, but if you are starting at a place where your dog has quite severe dental disease, potentially has a lot of thick calculus or tartar buildup, even maybe some wobbly teeth or some fractured teeth or damaged teeth, if you try and brush those teeth, that can be quite painful for the dog, and they will not tolerate that, and it will create a negative association between teeth brushing, which will affect them in the future. So if you have a dog where you're not sure where their state of health is with their teeth, it's really worthwhile going to your vet and having them checked, and you can just say to your vet, I'm really keen to start toothbrushing, but I'm not sure what state of health my dog's teeth are at. And hopefully the vet will look and say, hey, these are fine, start toothbrushing, that's fantastic, good job. They may say, look, we actually should do a proper scale and polish dental, possibly even some extractions to clean up the teeth, like daily brushing may not be enough there. So if you're not sure, it's worthwhile checking. And I guess that leads me to running through signs of dental disease in dogs. So the most common sign that I get with people coming in is the owners noticing a really smelly breath. Sometimes people actually see the damaged teeth. There may be bleeding of the gums. They might notice that their dog only tends to eat on one side of the mouth, and that's just because the other side of the mouth is sore. Occasionally animals will be eating food and they'll drop food out of their mouth because their teeth are sore, they're painful, they might be wobbly, they're not holding the food in as well. Occasionally dogs can paw at their mouth if they're really irritated. Let's run through some of the more common problems that owners come to me with when they're trying to brush their dog's teeth. I guess the number one thing is that they get to a point, wherever that point may be, touching the mouth, fingers in the mouth, the dog doesn't like the toothpaste, somewhere in the process, they've gotten to a point and they've hit a standstill and they're not getting any further. Depending on what level that is at, so if you're dealing with a highly anxious dog who really doesn't like their mouth being touched, then we may need to look at some behavioral things. If you have a dog that doesn't like the toothpaste, try a different type or a different flavor of toothpaste. Sometimes the treat is not high value enough in the dog's eyes, so maybe look at increasing the treat value. Like if their favorite thing is cheese, give them cheese. You may find something that they like even more. I do want to say also with the treat thing, most dogs, I would say the vast majority of dogs, having a high value treat, whether that be cheese or their favorite little kibble bit or whatever, is the best thing. But for some dogs, they do prefer play. So whether that be a big belly rub or a cuddle with their favorite person or playing ball. So when I say treat, generally, yes, I do mean food treat, but you can also incorporate what your dog actually likes as a treat. And certainly there are some dogs where playing ball is their absolute favorite thing. So if they know that they brush their teeth, then they play ball, super happy. Make sure you're using a treat that your dog perceives as a high value treat. Some dogs will try and eat the toothbrush and the toothpaste. They'll get so excited and enjoy it so much that they literally will try and just eat it and just chew the brush as you're brushing. So for those dogs, definitely reduce the length of your sessions. So while you're building up to the 30 seconds each side, if they're getting too excited and trying to eat the toothbrush, back it off a little bit and do shorter sessions. You can also use if you're using a long stemmed brush, you can use the finger brushes just to give a little bit more control. The other thing for these dogs is that's where gauze is a really good thing as well. Generally, these sort of dogs are not dogs that are going to bite you. They're generally just happy-go-lucky dogs. So using some gauze, if they are trying to eat the toothbrush, can be a good option. The other thing that some people see sometimes is a little bit of bleeding when they're brushing their dog's teeth. A little bit of bleeding is okay. So a little bit of light bleeding, particularly when the mouth is getting used to it, is okay. But if there's a lot of blood coming through, and if after say a week, every time you brush them they are bleeding, do get them checked by the vet. It could indicate maybe potentially a little bit more severe periodontal disease than we anticipated, or it could potentially be indicating something else going on. Now let's have a chat about dogs that you've tried all these things and for whatever reason they're just not tolerating their teeth being brushed. And I don't want you to feel bad if you fall into this subset of the population, because there are definitely animals, I'll take that off, there are definitely animals that are just really tricky to brush their teeth. So things that you consider are specific oral dental diets. Have a chat to your vet about which is most appropriate for your dog, particularly if your dog has other comorbidities or other diseases going on that may require diet change. There are two different types of dental diets for dogs. There's dental diets that relies on the chewing, the mechanical action of the teeth. So the kibble is usually quite big, with the idea being that the tooth goes into the kibble and sort of gets cleaned that way. There are also dental diets out there that have products in them that help chemically clean the mouth, so more suited to dogs that aren't particularly good chewers. The second thing is you can add things to their water. So there are dental additives you can add to their water that can help clean plaque off the teeth, and they are worthwhile considering. Most dogs tolerate them relatively well. The third thing is your dental chews and toys that they can chew on to help mechanically clean the teeth. Brushing is gold standard, so none of these things will replace brushing, but all of these things will help your dog's dental hygiene. In closing, your dog's dental health is just as important as any other part of their health, and just examining their oral cavity and having a dog that's comfortable with their mouth being examined is really important in terms of their general health and well-being. I truly believe that with patience and consistency, most dogs can learn to tolerate and even enjoy brushing their teeth. So please do give teeth brushing a go. Let me know how it goes in the comments below. If you have any other questions or queries you'd like me to go through, please pop it in the comments as well. I do try to respond to as many as I possibly can. All that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Like and subscribe. Bye.